Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. So let's start off with President Trump's recent maneuvers on the international stage. The White House has signaled the military aid to Ukraine, previously halted, may be reinstated. Now, this potential shift hinges on the implementation of peace negotiations and confidence-building measures between Ukraine and Russia. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz highlighted that Ukrainian President Zelensky's openness to dialogue has been positively received by President Trump. The discussions are set to focus on logistical arrangement for peace talks and specific measures to foster trust between the two parties. Additionally, Ukraine's readiness to enter a minerals deal to foster trust between the parties. Additionally, Ukraine's readiness to enter a minerals deal with the U.S. is seen as pivotal for continued American support in Ukraine's defense efforts. I think we're all glad that President Zelensky have come to his senses, and he should have been in his senses when he first met with President Donald Trump as well as Vice President J.D. Vance. I think making a straight debauchery of himself in front of the American people and our presidents was not good for his country, not at all. And now that the deal is back on, I believe that the Trump administration, United States of America, will provide aid to Ukraine, because at first it was halted. Now they're looking into continue with some of the aid that we were giving them, simultaneously trying to fester and garner a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. So again, we're going to look out and keep you guys updated on that as well. If you guys are new to Blacklogic, please hit the subscribe button as well as the notification button so you're aware and notified every time I post a video or I go live. Now, the U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has indicated that President Trump is likely to announce a reduction in the 25% tariffs imposed on imports from Canada and Mexico. This move aims to strike a balance with both neighboring countries expected to take reciprocal actions. The anticipation of the compromise has already positively influenced U.S. stock futures, despite earlier concerns about economic disruptions and inflation. And in his recent address to Congress, President Trump underscored the necessity of tariffs, emphasizing their role in safeguarding American jobs and core national values. Now, this one is somewhat important to us all because I show you guys just the other day my stock portfolio and how it has declined almost $10,000 ever since Donald Trump uttered the words that the 25% tariffs were going to be imposed today. Is today Tuesday or Wednesday? Let me make sure I check my calendar. Well, yesterday. My calendar said today is Wednesday. I'm a day behind. But nonetheless, my stocks tend to decline roughly about 2 or 3 weeks ago when he first doubled and tripled down on the 25% tariffs between Mexico, China, as well as Canada. So again, this may look good for us all. And I started to think, was this a strategy for us to not increase our tariffs on these countries to 25%, but lower the tariffs that other countries have on America, or to increase our tariffs to a negligible amount where we're still going to be profitable? Was this a strategy? Because again, for him to really recant the 25% tariff, was that a bullying tactic? Was that a business method or strategy? Again, there's a lot of things that Trump is doing, and then he's kind of taking a step back. He's coming out very strongly against certain things, but then he leaves a little bit of wiggle room where he's meeting countries or he's meeting certain situations or even in legislations right there in the middle. And that tells me that he's a true politician. And that's not saying that's negative. As I would say, I don't trust any politician because what they tell the world, what they tell the American people may not be their bottom line, may not be the bluff of it all. Bottom line up front, may not be the bluff of it all. It may just be a ploy. It may just be a tactic. It may just be a strategy. It may just be a method of how they're trying to have the best outcome for Americans. It may not be what they stated, but it may be close enough where we say, well, he didn't do 25%, but he did 15% or he did 18%. So America is still profitable. We're still meeting those countries in America in the middle, and things are becoming more fair on the economic international stage for America than it ever has before. So again, I just don't know some of the strategy because it may be something deeper, or it may just be what we see in here. He may be that straight up front shooter that after a lot of the economists came out and stated that this is going to taint the international markets altogether. This is not going to just hurt Mexico, Canada, or China, or even ourselves, where prices are going to go up and services prices are going to go up. No, it's going to hurt the entire world. So I don't believe that Donald Trump is built and bent on world domination. Because if he was, I think that he would keep the tariffs at 25%. Or maybe he is. See, here's the thing about politics and how it's very complex and is layered. If you're not privy to the insider information of what's really going on, the only thing that a lot of mass media, YouTube media, social media, legacy media, we're just speaking in speculations. We're speculating about the possible strategies or possible reasons why politicians do the things they do. So again, hopefully we can figure out more of what's going on and how Donald Trump is running the presidency. So far, so good. So far, so good. Again, it shows me that he's not bent on world domination because he has stepped back on a couple of things and he is willing to negotiate. So that's a good thing. Now, turning to national security, President Trump has announced the capture and impending extradition of Mohammad Sharifullah, the alleged mastermind behind the 2021 Kabul airport bombing during the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. This attack, again, tragically claimed the lives of 13 U.S. service members and approximately 170 Afghan civilians. Sharifullah was apprehended in Pakistan province after a series of operations has reportedly confessed to his involvement. He faces charges of providing material support to a foreign terrorist organization resulting in death. President Trump expressed gratitude towards Pakistan for the cooperation in the significant arrest. Now, them just giving up, and again, he killed Afghan civilians as well. I think I watched too many war movies. I think I watched too many spy movies. 2021 is 2025. 4 years later, Donald Trump is in power. The Middle East is trying to make peace with America, giving up some of their terrorists. I just don't know. Is there something behind the curtain? Is there something that Afghanistan and other countries may just be toying with America? I'm just asking questions. I don't know anything. This is definitely conjecture. Because again, if you don't want to go to war with America and you see that a president comes in very stern, very firm, he's not playing any games, and then all of a sudden you give up, like it's not even 100 days yet in his presidency. So it's not even 100 days, and they're going to map out, a lot of the legacy media is going to map out the things that he's done within his 100 days. Someone's going to do a very detailed, vivid list of every single thing, and then someone's going to generalize. I'm probably going to just generalize some of the key points. But nonetheless, I just think, did Afghanistan just grab one of their citizens and say, we want you to confess, and we're going to give you all this information of the details so you're believable, but we're going to take care of your family for the rest of their lives. They're going to live a great life here in Afghanistan. I wonder if that's what it is. Because it just seems too ironic. It just seems too close to be true all of a sudden. Within 100 days of Donald Trump being president, and you have watched the very aggressive moves that he made across the world, all of a sudden, you guys captured the terrorists who committed these crimes. Now, granted, evidence, verifiable evidence, will be the tall tale story here. And I hope that America is doing investigations, investigating the person, investigating the person's family, investigating where the person lives. I mean, anything they can investigate. I just want to make sure that we know that this is the guy who committed that bombing, who supported that bombing, who planned that bombing, who was behind the bombing of the 13 U.S. service members there in Afghanistan and Kabul. as they were trying to retrograde out of there. So again, I'm just asking questions. Now, I do want to play just a little bit of this.
Officials said 1,200 could die within 3 years because of the loss of reproductive health services.
More than 3 years after the U.S. withdrawal, correspondent Imtiaz Tyab has returned to Afghanistan. He found remnants of 2 decades of war and at least some hope for better relations in the future.
As we walked through Kabul's busy markets, we found a city changed. Gone was the claustrophobia of 2 decades of war. Most concrete blast walls and checkpoints have been removed, and market traders told us they felt safer now than ever before. Afghanistan's new leaders insist they have improved people's lives, but for the past 3.5 years, the Taliban has ruled with an iron fist, aided by abandoned U.S. military hardware like these American assault rifles and Humvees. The Taliban put on parade its massive haul last year. According to a 2022 Department of Defense report, 78 aircraft, 40,000 military vehicles, and more than 300,000 weapons were just some of what was left behind.
On the eve of his inauguration, President Trump accused the Biden administration of just handing over U.S. military assets like this to the Taliban following the 2021 withdrawal, a withdrawal President Trump negotiated.
President Trump has demanded the Taliban give back the hardware valued at $7 billion. But the group has flat out refused. Abdul Kahar Balki is the Taliban spokesman for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Is it absolutely off the table?
These are the assets of the state of Afghanistan, and they will continue to be in the possession of the state of Afghanistan.
It seems like there's no deal then with the president.
People don't make deals on the assets of the states. They make agreements through dialogue and engagement to find spaces and areas of common interest.
The 2021 takeover triggered these desperate scenes of Afghans trying to escape and saw Taliban fighters as they celebrated their return to power. The group's leaders say they want a reset with President Trump following his re-election.
We would like to close the chapter of warfare and open a new chapter.
That new chapter may be written here, Afghanistan's estimated $1 trillion in untapped mineral reserves. President Trump has had his eye on it for years, and recent studies have found the country has the potential to be the Saudi Arabia of lithium, a critical metal used to power cell phones and electric car batteries. The competition will be fierce. U.S. rivals like China have already made huge investments here.
So you foresee a future in which the Taliban actively pursues, alongside the U.S., business interests inside this country when it comes to your abundant natural resources?
Of course, our doors are open.
And Imtiaz Tyab joins us.
That's a very interesting story, and that's why I wanted you guys to watch it in its entirety, because is President Trump willing to do business with the terrorist group that we have labeled a international terrorist group? We're referring to the Taliban. Now, the spokesperson that you guys have seen, I would like to believe he was either educated because of his English, either in the UK or in America. I just wonder if we have any information about the gentleman who was speaking, because he didn't really have a strong accent at all. And I'm pretty sure he's bilingual. But nonetheless, is Donald Trump willing to do business with the Taliban on the behalf of Afghanistan for their rare minerals, very key minerals in, making cell phones? And cell phones, they're not going anywhere no time soon. Welcome to the new Galaxy S25. Very nice phone. Thank you very much. And again, nothing against people who love Apple, iOS, whatever. I don't do the battle of the cell phones, but nonetheless, this is very important because, again, we're going to need a lot of these rare earth minerals, whether they be in Ukraine, Russia, or even Afghanistan. And China is already there. I'm telling you, China is, and I've said this before, and I'm not just salivating over China, but they are a world superpower. They're right behind the U.S. when we're referring to economics and GDP. And when it comes to minerals, Russia tops everyone. their minerals are probably worth $75 trillion. Okay, and a lot of it is located in the uninhabitable parts of Russia, but nonetheless, you can still mine it. You may not be able to live there, but nonetheless, Afghanistan have some of them same minerals that America needs. Is Trump willing to garner a deal with an international terrorist group who is now trying to bring back, I guess, traditional Islamic laws of Afghanistan and not be modernized by the Western or Eastern world? This is the Middle East. This is how we do things. I wonder. Now, Trump did want the $7 billion worth of military equipment back, and they said, no deal. We're going to use this equipment for safeguarding our borders, safeguarding our citizens. That, as you show a very small clip, that it seems as though Afghanistan is, I don't know, they're back trying to thrive. They're doing business with other countries like China. And, you know, again, I don't know what's going on the international stage when it comes to the Taliban and them trying to form a formal government. I don't know if it's going to be a dictatorship. I saw the picture of someone that very little small signs of dictatorships when you just wearing a picture of your leader on your chest. And again, it makes me think of North Korea and Kim Jong-un. But nonetheless, let's move on. I don't want to get stuck here because there's so much to talk about. Now, I don't know if you guys saw Donald Trump's first speech to Congress in his second term here. He delivered the longest address in U.S. history, lasting over an hour and 40 minutes. Donald Trump has like this unlasting energy. Now, there's been a couple of pictures where I saw his eyes bloodshot red because he is putting in overtime as president. Like, he's in every discussion, every meeting. But he did his address for over an hour and 40 minutes, the longest ever in U.S. history. He's done a lot of firsts in U.S. history, by the way, because he declared that his administration is just getting started, highlighting efforts to reduce the federal workforce, reorient foreign policies, and intensify a contentious trade war. The president praised Elon Musk for leading government efficiency measures and touted major fiscal savings, though some critics question the accuracy of these claims. He also touched on plans for foreign policies, tariffs, and significant domestic projects, such as reclaiming the Panama Canal and probably renaming it to the American Canal. The address received mixed reactions, with Democratic lawmakers expressing opposition through placards and heckling, while others attended to show solidarity. Now, I watched this almost in its entirety, especially towards the end, and he called, I always forget this lady's name. She's a Democrat, white lady, wear glasses, and referred to her as Pocahontas because I think he was secretly touting that she's one of these fake $5 Indians. Remember the Indian strolls where you pay $5 where white people were trying to get on the Indian strolls because the Native Americans were promised all of these benefits. So the only thing they had to do was pay $5 to get on the Indian strolls. And I'm probably saying that wrong, not Indian strolls, but dowels, the Indian dowels, in order for them to be labeled as Native Americans so they can get these benefits. And she stated that she was a Native American and he was like Pocahontas, and she was heckling him by just keep clapping as he was talking. Very disrespectful. See, I just don't get the disrespect on either side. He's the president. He's the president, and you're lucky that you're living in America, because a lot of these other countries, you do that while the president's talking, and it probably will never happen. But if you do that while the president talking, the prime minister talking, the king talking, off with your head. You would definitely disappear. Do that in Saudi Arabia. Do that in Saudi Arabia and see if something don't happen. We may never see you again. That's all I'm stating. We would never see that person again. Now, shifting to the tech world, Elon Musk has targeted the General Service Administration Tech Division, 18F, which developed the IRS Direct File, a free tax filing software for U.S. citizens. Musk's initiative to dismantle this software is part of his broader effort to enhance efficiency within the federal government. However, this move is projected to significantly increase costs for American taxpayer, drawing parallels to previously cut cost-cutting measures must implement it on his X platform, which led to extensive and costly severance lawsuits. Now, he may replace it with his own free tax software that is going to be, of course, government ran. I don't think they're going to totally abolish the IRS, even though a lot of Americans want that. I'm just like, how would this money get funneled to the infrastructure? How would this money get funneled to key, plants that America has all around the world, nuclear centers? Because if you guys are not aware, next to France, America, we actually harness and gain and produce a lot of our energy from nuclear fission. So again, we're one of the top countries that use nuclear energy within our power grids and our power infrastructure. I don't know if you guys are aware of that or not. Again, this is very interesting news here, but nonetheless, let's move to some very, very interesting stories. Again,
Could the pyramids have been built in layers with one on top of another? Some American pyramids are built that way, and the Egyptians have also added extra layers. The Midim pyramid is believed to be the second pyramid constructed after another one. During its construction, it was transformed from a step pyramid into a true one by filling in the steps with a limestone casing. While this approach was consistent with the design of other true pyramids, there were a few blunders along the way. Oops! First, they placed the outer layer on a sandy foundation instead of a solid rock like the inner layers. Secondly, those inner step pyramids were meant to be the grand finale, resulting in a sleek, polished outer surface with one.
So what's interesting to note here, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but they found these old puppets with these weird facial expressions. Let me show you very quickly here. Look at these puppets that they have that they stated. They said 3 of the dolls are about a foot tall, while 2 others are about 10 centimeters. That's 0.3 feet, so very, very, very tiny, very small. And they were stating in this, since there were no human remains found at the site, scientists suspect the dolls were most likely used for public rituals. While from eye level, the puppets may appear angry, they appear scared from below, grinning, and from above, researchers said. They said if you look at them from above, it looks like they're grinning. If you looked at them from eye level, they look like they're scared. And scientists suspect the dolls were likely specifically designed this way to be used for a public theatrical scene to convene stories from readily decodable events, mythical or real. Wow, that's very intelligent that even back then they made these dolls. And I don't know if it's made out of rock or some sort of pliable material. It looks like they're made out of some sort of rock where they were chiseled. But just the ingenuity in creating these dolls, depending on the way they position to the viewers. Like if we have it at eye level, they look scared. But if we put them down bottom or we raise them up top, it looks like they're smiling. So again, they could be used in many of platforms in these, again, theatrical shows or even rituals that they were conducting during that time. It is very intriguing stuff here. That's all. I'm just showing you guys some intriguing stories here. And I just have one more for you guys. Have you guys heard about this one just yet? Because a fascinating scientific discovery has emerged from the ruins of Herculaneum, an ancient city destroyed by Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. Researchers have found that the intense heat from the volcanic eruption caused a victim's brain to vitrify, turning it into gas. The rare phenomenon occurred due to exposure to scorching ash clouds reaching temperatures of at least 950 Fahrenheit, followed by rapid cooling. The finding offers unique insights into the catastrophic events of the eruption and the preservation of a biological material under extreme conditions. How do they come to the conclusion that somebody's brain turned into glass, that it turned into gas and turned into glass? It's stated here that the young man was found in a small room near the entrance to the hall of the Gasthaus, a civic order of freedom, a bit like a Freemason lodge. Perhaps He was a security guard. He's been nicknamed the Guardian for that reason. Alternatively, he might have also have come from outside running panic through the city of Herculaneum as he was overtaken by black ash and poisonous fumes following the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE, with no idea where he was but seeking shelter in a place everyone else had evacuated, finally collapsing down, face down on the wooden bed. And the story goes on and on, but it's just very intriguing that somebody's brain turned to glass. The last mortal remains of his fellow residents of Herculaneum were found mostly where they fell, several hundred crowded into the beach and in beachfront chambers, presumably in hopes of escaping the pyroclastic currents that soon engulfed them, preserving them and the details of their life 2,000 years ago. Wow. Very intriguing stories. I don't know if you guys are into that. I just think that the world is a fascinating place. I think there's a lot of things that have occurred in history that we're just now finding out because there's more explorers, there's more people digging, and hopefully we can find out more information. Who knows? Maybe the world was visited by aliens. I don't know. But nonetheless, you guys have a great and wonderful morning. This is Blacklogic.